MGM recently announced separate plans to scale back on the hotel tower and on the overall size of their downtown casino in Springfield. Well, Springfield City Council President Michael Fenton has voiced his concerns about these changes, and he came in to talk with us about it.
My concerns with the project and the prospect of the development reaching the economic spinoffs that we've planned and counted on for the last 3 years really started when MGM announced the elimination of their 25-story glass tower. And the reason for that, for me personally, was that I found it difficult to believe that the elimination of that tower wouldn't have very real impacts on the number of square footage associated with the project, the number of tourists who are willing to come and dine and recreate in our downtown, and also the number of really raw retail and entertainment space that MGM had planned for the site.
The city has now said basically, wait a minute, your application, as you've put it to us, is no longer what we were told it was going to be some time ago. And the city has basically, at this point, sent back the application and said, let's fix this, let's meet. Meeting coming up with the mayor, top MGM people on Thursday. What's your sense of how all of this is developing now?
Yeah, I want to stress that we have a contract, an agreement with MGM Springfield. It's under the state law, Mass General Law, Chapter 23K, it's known as a host community agreement. And so in that agreement, which the voters approved by referendum vote in the city of Springfield, we bargained for certain services, certain components to the development, because this was never about slot parlors and about table games. It wasn't about craps and roulette. For the city of Springfield and the Pioneer Valley, it was about the synergies that could be created in our downtown and regionally. It was about what types of small and large-scale businesses would want to come to Springfield to help service and capitalize on the increased foot traffic that MGM Springfield would bring to our city. So as a part of that agreement, we are guaranteed certain square footage in terms of retail, certain square footage in terms of entertainment, including a bowling alley, outdoor skating rink, etc. And the more that those components of the project get deteriorated, in lieu of deteriorating the size of the gambling floor, which you'll notice is very, very minimally reduced at this stage, that represents to me a benefit for MGM and by comparison, a detriment to the city of Springfield. So what we need to do is sit down with MGM, take a really hard look at the agreement and the terms that we came to, and the city needs to draw a very clear line in the sand that says, look, if there are going to be changes to this agreement, they need to be changes that are in our mutual interest or that are in the best interest of the city of Springfield, not just the interests of MGM.
Maybe this is ancient history now with the latest announcements about the 14% overall cutback, but after the hotel changes, before the 14% overall space cut was announced, you said you thought that in return for scaling back the hotel, the tower, MGM perhaps was open to a better bargain for the city to maybe do something else distinctive for the skyline, maybe a bigger housing component, maybe help in attracting a major league or minor league baseball team. There were discussions. Is all of that still active, or is that kind of up in the air now that we've seen things kind of move further?
It is active, and I appreciate MGM's willingness to cooperate and compromise with the city. You know, I'll go back to, I use my legal training in this type of environment, and I think, you know, when you have two contracting parties and promises have been made to both sides to sort of incentivize the deal, one side doesn't then later, after the deal's been signed and everybody goes home and is happy about the business arrangement, get to say, well, wait a minute, I'll call you the next morning and I'm gonna change this component, that component, all which are reductions to what you would have been getting. And so it felt like, to me, at the outset, that's what MGM was attempting to do with the reduction of the 14% and the elimination of the tower. So what I said to them, and I feel I said pretty clearly, was that there need to be components that justify that for the Springfield taxpayer. Some of the things I've asked them, and they have agreed to consider, include a marquee that will change the skyline in some respect, maybe not in the same way that a hotel tower would have, but that will make it so that folks who are traveling down Interstate 91 can see this project and hopefully stop in our city. Other components include expansion of their residential market rate apartments, which are required to be 54 units. Maybe we can get that a little bit higher. And I've also asked that they look into introducing condominiums into the downtown so that we can have a home ownership component to this really state-of-the-art market development, so that we can get folks that maybe move to the suburbs and would consider moving to a new, revitalized Springfield downtown Renaissance area, but who want to have some equity in the property that they're living in, and they don't want to be paying rent on a monthly basis. So those are some things that we've talked about. I hope and believe that MGM will continue to consider them strongly. And if they bring us a package with some of those components, then I think we'll make a decision on the merits.
How concerned, how bothered were you when you, other city leaders, the mayor, you read about these changes, these cutbacks on Mass Live? You didn't get a call. You had met with these folks not too awfully long, the MGM people, not too awfully long before that, when they had to at least have had the changes, the cutbacks in mind. How big a problem is that? It seems like they weren't really being forthcoming or forthright with all of you.
Yeah, it's called communication, and this isn't a uniquely Springfield problem. We're seeing it in Washington, in Boston, at every local level. When the mayor made the announcement about the elimination of the 25-story tower, the city council found out about it through the media, through Mass Live and through other reporting sources. And that's a problem of internal communication in the city. Communication between the executive branch and Mayor Sarno and the legislative branch and the 13 members of the city council, and with myself as council president. The second announcement, the 14% reduction, was a story that was broke by the media based on a notice of project change through the MEPA filing from MGM. That was a breakdown in communication between the developer and the city. The mayor has said that he wasn't aware of that, and that's something that we need to make sure that we work on. The last thing that we want to do is have a developer that's embarrassing our mayor or our city with lack of communication. So we need to work on that if we're going to put our best foot forward.
About a minute left. Do you think, are the changes being put forward by MGM in this project so significant that they really changes the overall project in a way there needs to be or should be another public referendum?
I think that it's too early to say because we haven't been confronted with all the different components. I can tell you that based on what I know now, I have said this in the past, based on what I know now about the proposed elimination of the tower and the proposed reduction of 14% overall square footage on the site, including retail and entertainment, to me, that justifies a referendum. And to me, that is not something that the city of Springfield should assent to. It's a one-sided change, and that is not the deal that we struck.
Well, Springfield City Council President Mike Fenton, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming in, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.